I've been very busy with school for the past few weeks, so I kinda got behind on a lot of games. I've played all 3 of the games in this video, but it has been a little while since I played them, so I wanted to make like a multi-review where I talk about each game for a few minutes and give like an overview of my thoughts. I have other full reviews in the works, and there are some other upcoming games I'm looking forward to playing, which means I don't really have much time to make full reviews out of each of the games in this video. I also want to give a shout out to Lord Midas Productions for the Monster Hunter gameplay. I lost all my footage and he sent me over some, so big thanks to him for making this possible. His channel is linked below, go check him out. And now without further ado, let's get into the first game. Sea of Thieves is a game with a fantastic concept and a gorgeous world, but there is absolutely no content. I mean, everything from the beta they had is basically the same as the final game, and there is no progression. Every quest is pretty much the same. You just go out, pick up an item, and bring it back to the shop, and your only reward is gold, which you can use to buy different cosmetic items. And it's a first-person game, so you are literally buying different clothes that you can't even see unless you emote. This game literally has its entire progression system revolving around buying stuff that you can't see. Let that sink in for a second. Because what makes this worse is the fact that it seems the developers purposely made it like this. In their video, they talk about how they chose to have no upgrades so that it's fair for all players. What? Have you ever heard of matchmaking? Ever heard of scaling weapon damage like in Destiny's PvP? That way you can actually offer some gameplay variety or some sort of real progression. I mean, talk about laughable game design. And this game is fun for the first 2 hours, but then there's literally nothing to do. You've pretty much seen the extent of everything. The only other thing to do besides sailing and doing those dumbass quests and fighting like terrible like skeleton AI is to fight other pirates, other people, you know? It is a multiplayer game. But the combat feels like it was designed for the N64. I mean, it's slow, it's imprecise, and it's janky as hell. I mean, they want you to make your own adventure, but it's really hard to do that when they limit players in literally every aspect of the game. Sea of Thieves it's an early access game that was priced at a full game. It's not worth more than $5, and even then, I'd say you're still getting ripped off because it's honestly an embarrassment to gaming. The water looks great though, so that's cool, I guess. That was worth $60. And don't even attempt to play this single player. If you're even thinking about it, it's not. You can't play it single player. It's horrible. You need friends to make it anywhere near close to being enjoyable. And even then, it still sucks. So Far Cry 5 was a game I was not expecting to buy or enjoy. And well, it turns out I ended up both buying it and enjoying it. I was so distraught after spending $60 on the most empty game ever that I actually went out and bought an Ubisoft game on release day for full price. And I have to say, it's real good. In all seriousness though, I did play through Far Cry 5 this past month and I quite enjoyed it. It mostly sticks to the normal Far Cry formula, so don't expect some brand new experience, but it definitely makes some improvements to keep things relatively fresh. No more towers to climb and a more organic feeling open world make it feel more lived in than ever. The gunplay is pretty standard as always, but it works well, and it's fun to just roam around the open world being a complete jackass. Or taking it seriously, like I usually did, and actively try to save everyone and live out the role of the main character. The main story, on the other hand, is a bit hit or miss with a few great moments, and some others that were trash. Joseph Seed is an interesting villain, and the ending of the game is very bold, which I can appreciate, even if I think it kind of undercuts the entire rest of the game. The cast of side characters was great, and the companion system was really cool, despite some problems with the AI. There are also a ton of awesome side missions, and the world is really fun to explore. Like seriously, they did a great job with filling the world with like interesting things to do. Prepper Stash side missions in particular are super fun. They all offered like a little puzzle or challenge that you had to go through to get a reward, and some of them were just really creative, and I appreciated them putting in the effort with that. The game also looks gorgeous, I mean, you can see that, and it's fun as hell. The soundtrack is also fantastic, and both the use of licensed songs on the in-game radio and the actual score. It really helps create a great tone and ambience for the game world. And overall, I was really surprised with how much I enjoyed this game, and I'd recommend it to both newcomers and fans of the series alike. Monster Hunter World was another game that I wasn't really expecting to play, but I ended up buying it anyway. And I'm happy I did because it ended up being really fun. The combat is great, the weapons are really cool, and all the different monsters look awesome, and they were a ton of fun to fight. The world was beautiful, and every different location was diverse and interesting, and I thought the progression/loot system was great, despite the fact that they really don't do a good job explaining all the game's features. The co-op system, however, was an unnecessary pain in the ass though, and it was ridiculously stupid how much effort it took to actually just play with a friend. I mean, you literally can't play story missions in co-op. You have to both start the missions separately, watch the cutscene separately, start the fight separately, and then have your friend leave their mission and come join yours. It's so dumb, and I don't see why you couldn't just watch the cutscenes at the same time, like in Destiny, or any other, sensible game, but the real slap in the face here comes when you beat Zora Magdaros, because you are treated to a cutscene that both players can watch at the same time. Wow, proving not only that it was possible, because we already knew it was, but it proves that they actually implemented it into the game, but decided not to implement it into the rest of the game, just to piss people off, I guess. And the Zora Magdaros fights are literally two of the slowest, most boring and tedious things I've ever done in a video game. And they happen twice. It's a small part of the overall game, but man, those things were bad. You slowly load cannonballs into a cannon, and then click a button to have it fire at the monster. And then repeat over and over and over and over and over for like 10 minutes. And then you land on its back and fight a rock. And then another monster lands on its back, and it actually gets fun for a few moments, and then it's over. It's so anticlimactic, and it's just plain awful. There are a few other technical problems, and the story is really uninteresting, but overall it was still a very fun game.